This is the Woodcut bowl saver. It consists of a handle, obviously, and then there are two metal plates that are joined together in this fulcrum point here. There are also two blades for two different sizes of bowl, and yes, you can adjust the banjo side to side to increase or decrease the size of the bowl in between these two here. The idea is that this top plate slides across this while the bottom plate stays fixed, and this blade then gradually curves into the bowl that you're turning. It's mounted on a post, and you can buy these here depending on the size of your banjo post. So this one here is sized for the for my envoy lathe, but you can get they come in both inch and 25mm. You also get a matching collar which slides up and down the post and allows you to set the height of the Woodcut bowl saver. At the rear is a mechanism. This particular spud, I suppose you'd call it, fits into the tailstock, which you can then tighten up. It adjusts using this locking knob here, so you can loosen that off and move that from side to side to help you line it up depending on the size of the bowl you're cutting. You then tighten it up when it's finished. Whole thing is it's pretty heavy, but not unmanageably so. It's two pieces of steel, so the bottom bit is a piece of I suppose you say it's 3-4mm sheet steel, and then the top bit is a die cast piece of metal that and both of them move on each they slides across the surface of the plate below. They're then also welded into this, or actually it looks to be part of the original cut. These two lugs weren't cut off and they're just bent over, and then there's another one on this side which helps to keep it all aligned. The whole thing is very steady. It's very sturdily made. There's no slack in any of the joints or anything there. It is all put together very tightly, and you'll see whenever I'm using it in the video that it does take a wee bit of effort to pull. It's not a smooth swing because the two plates, there's no bearing or bushing in between the two of them, and the two plates literally rub against each other. So whenever the blade is under load, this does take a wee bit of effort to pull. The advantage of that there, I suppose, is that you're not liable to swing the blade too quickly into the wood and maybe cause a catch and throw the blank off of the lathe. This blade, when you're not in use, you slacken off these two nuts here. This will pull out and then slide in from the opposite side like this one here is. I'm not sure if you can actually see, but there's a cutter on that side as well, and then you can reverse this cutter and it goes on this outside. This little block here at the end of the lathe is a piece of, it's a type of plastic. I'm not sure what type of plastic it is, and it helps to support the cutter without it being metal against metal. So there is a wee bit of slight give in that there, but very little, which takes the pressure off the blade, I suppose. Once you have the blade swapped round, and you just tighten these two handles down again, and that fixes the blade in place. So that's basically what you've got there. I will now mount this up on the lathe, and I'll show you how to center it against the or center it up for height on the lathe. So, as I have said earlier, this post, just like the post on your tool rest, only it fits into this woodcut bowl saver attachment here. So to mount it into the banjo, it's basically a case of dropping it into the hole in your banjo and sliding it down. This collar I have it preset for the height of my lathe, and I'm not going to move that, but it is fairly simple to do, and I'll show you what's required in order to set it to the height for the centre of your drive spur. And it just slides down. Once you have the collar set, that's it in height, set to the right height, and then it's just a matter of locking it into place then. Once that's done, move it into position. Roughly with this centre post here, the pivot point, roughly to the centre of your drive spur. Hopefully this is clear. So I've got my woodcut bowl saver loaded in, as you've shown earlier, into the banjo, and all I do now is pull the handle to rotate the blade in towards the centre point of my drive spur, and I'm hoping that you can see there that the idea is that the very tip of the drive spur and the top edge of the cutter line up. So that way the cutter is perfectly centered on the center point of the lathe drive, and that's all there is to centering your cutter. So you just up you can move your post up and down until you get it to where it's perfectly centered, and then you just tighten up the collar. And then once you tighten up your banjo lock, that's it perfectly centered now, and you can just push it out of the way. Once you have the woodcut bowl saver in position, lined up perfectly with your blank, you then need to secure the tail end of the woodcut bowl saver just so that it doesn't move from side to side on the post, so it doesn't swivel on the post a wee bit as you're moving the handle, because as I said, there's a fair wee bit of resistance when you're turning the handle. To do that, there's this spud here fits into the hollow end of your tailstock once you remove the centre from it. So in order to do that, you slacken off this adjustable nut here, so this can move backwards and forwards depending on the size of your bowl, and then you advance the tailstock, or as I'm doing here, you can wind your tailstock forward, and you don't need it to be tight. All you're really wanting to do here is just make it a snug fit, and then you tighten this nut up. Now I can't emphasize enough how important it is to tighten this up. There's a number of videos online that actually shows what happens when you don't, where this can vibrate loose and fall off, and I have to admit I have done this in the past also, and believe me, it's very hard to find the nuts and the washers and things that go into this. Obviously the big knobs easily found, but there's a washer and things like that. Those can be quite difficult to find whenever you've got lots of shavings in your workshop. So you tighten that up. This now makes the whole thing rock solid, so it won't move. and then we can at this point you can then swivel the cutter in, and as you can see, you can move that about. The whole mechanism is solid. I should also point out that the post is not centered on this, but rather it's centered below the blade. So the post is helping to support the blade. So all the cutting power of the cutter is actually going down through the post, making it a very stable platform when you're actually coring out a bowl. So as you can see from the following video, where I've used this to core out the bowl I turned in the previous video I've done, you can see it's fairly easy to set up. There's not really much you can do wrong. You'll see that I'm using a laser guide, which actually I maybe should show you that now also. So as part of the bowl saver kit, you get a sheet of paper with two guides on it. One for the small cutter, one for the large cutter. And you just glue them to a piece of hardboard or plywood and then cut them out. And they basically work. One end, you set one end to the center of your post here, and then the other end is the bottom of your cut. Or if you swap to the larger bowl, so that was the larger bowl finder, if you swap to that's the one for the smaller one there, so you can see, I don't know where if you can see it or not. So the square end has a line marked on, and that there centers on the middle of that there, and then the other end has a bit of a point on it and again a line, and this is the bottom of your cut, or the outside of your cut. So this is the outside of your blade. This is the method, and it works perfectly well. This is how you, this is supplied with the bowl cutter standard. You make your own wee templates, and it marks your bowl, and then, as I say, you set it on there, line it up the back of your bowl, and that tells you where your depth is and how far in the bowl you're cutting. I decided to go for the add-on laser attachment. So the add-on laser attachment consists of a post with a rod at the end of it here that actually fits in to the top of the bowl saver. There's then this plastic bar at the top of it, and again you can see it's just a hole that the rod fits into, push down home, and then at the other end there are two holes. The inside one is for the small cutter, the outside one is for the large cutter, and there's a small laser pointer, and it's activated by a wee button here on the side. You push that in to turn the laser on, and once you pull it out it goes off. And in order to activate it, you push the wee button in and slide it down. And I'm not sure if you can see it on the back of my hand there, or you maybe see it on my jumper. There's the wee laser beam there. So the idea is, with the laser activated, that slides in there, and unlike the paper templates, this actually shows the inside of your cut, and that needs to be pointed out. The paper template shows the outside of the cutter, so the paper template shows out to here, to the outside, and the laser, if I can bring it in, sorry, it's the other way around. The laser shows the outside of the cut, and the paper template shows the inside of the cut. So that's just to be pointed out. I think you might be able to just see the laser shining on the tip of the cutter there. Try and zoom in on that. I think you can just see the laser there, and that's on the very tip of the cutter. So once you're happy with your depth of cut, you just pull this up to turn the laser off, lift that off, and at that point you're good to go. And you will see me use this in the rest of this video. Thanks very much.